Yo, what is going on, Steeler Nation? We are back with episode 221 of the Steel Factory podcast. I'm joined by my co-hosts, Junior and Chewy.
What's up? What's up?
All right, then. The dream offseason for the Pittsburgh Steelers. What's going to get us as close to, I guess, competitive as possible? Coming off the 9-8 season. Bit of an easier schedule next year, I'd say. And we got some topics that we want to go over and things we hope to see this offseason, beginning with free agency and the draft and any like front office changes or coaching changes, more like. So yeah, let's get on with the hot topic. We're like on day 7 of Matt Canada watch now. Why hasn't he been fired, Junior?
Well, why hasn't he been fired?
Yeah, what's the lowdown?
We're too mediocre, to be honest. It's like here's the problem I have with a lot of Steeler fans, especially Rian right here, is they don't understand that in the NFL especially, where like you almost get rewarded for not taking big risks, or more like you don't get fired for not taking big risks, right? So if we really wanted to see some actual change within, our coaching structure and organization, we would need things to go really, really bad, right? And for that to happen, we need to go from something working to just it being complete dog shit. But what's happened in the Steelers organization as a whole is we've gone from something working really, really well to...
Credit to Big Ben keeping the offense afloat for 10 plus years just on his own, I'd say.
Yeah, and like not even just Big Ben, but even like this goes through ownership and through management and through like scouting and general management, right? Like we've had the same general manager for 20 years until we got Khan this last year.
Yeah.
And then we've had the same owners for last 60 years?
The whole time,
Longer?
yeah.
The whole time?
90 years. The whole same
90
family.
years? Sure. But like since nothing terrible is happening, we're just kind of like sticking to what we know works. And what we know works, but it's no longer working well enough, right? So we're just kind of settling for okay at this point. We're going 9-8, and a lot of people will turn this into like, okay, well that's actually really good with the amount of talent we have on our team and the expectations we had coming in.
The youth of the team, yeah, I'd say.
And sure it is. And if the Steelers here's the thing, if the Steelers were a better organization, they would fire Matt Canada. If every single news outlet, every single sports outlet, like they really, really praise the Rooneys for consistency and for not panicking or anything. But what we need to be praising in an organization that does very well is decisiveness and knowing when someone is at their ceiling and knowing when that ceiling is no longer good enough. And Matt Canada is not good enough. Yeah, we got to 9-8, but that was carried off of our defense playing a lot better, us playing way worse teams, and it shows in our scores, right? I think we averaged maybe like 3 more points in the second half of the season.
We averaged, at the end of the year, I know the average was 18 points a game with everything.
Right, like that's not very good. And our offense is so obviously not very good. Looking at the Dable Giants or the Vikings or the 49ers, like the 49ers are perfect. Their system is so ridiculously good that they have Mr. Irrelevant with the keys to this basically autopilot Tesla. And they're going. It's totally good.
All right.
Okay. They look fucking they're flying, dude. The system is so good that this effectively loser, this guy that was supposed to be career backup, if that, is throwing 3 touchdowns, 300 yards in the fucking playoffs. It's ridiculous.
I agree with all that. One thing I think is my hopes in the Steelers is they shouldn't be satisfied with 9-8, right?
Exactly.
That should be just the fact where our offense ranked, despite how much growth they've shown. Because honestly, it's just the reason they improved was credit to the O-line coach. Honestly, that's the number one. But the young core that we had continued to get better, and that was honestly the most important as well. But being just where they ended up ranking, just how bad they looked at the beginning of the year, should be grounds for firing Matt Canada. I know there's always this bullshit Steeler way. They're not gonna fire a guy, and that just goes back to, I guess, just how they pinch their pennies, the front office, just the ownership. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, look, like the Steeler way and is great and all, and it's like
It's
like
something to
this,
be proud of, but at the same time too, you gotta move on sometimes. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's like the American dream at this point. Like you kind of like, it's like, oh, like everyone's looking towards this ideal that has worked in the past, but we need to make some serious changes for us to get back on track and for us to make that a reality again. Like the Steeler way, first and foremost, should not be, oh, we don't make changes for our coaches. Oh, we write out contracts. It should first and foremost be the Steeler way is fucking winning. All right. It's not a style of play. It's not hard nosed running and like, oh, fucking crazy good defenses or a steel curtain. It's fucking winning. All right. That's it. That's the Steeler way. It's winning.
That's the standard.
Any organization that has some sort of standard aside from winning is fucking, it's fucking stupid. It's cope. It's cope. It's seriously cope for being bad. All right. We shouldn't accept this. The Steelers need to be decisive about what personnel is and isn't working, and Matt Canada is not working, and he's not gonna work. It's so obvious. All right, maybe he will work in the future. Maybe he will work for some other fucking team. But in order for him to get to that point, he needs to be fired. So that way he knows he needs to change to improve and start working. But like the type of change that we need is not going to happen through continuing to employ him.
Right. All three of us have always thought the fire Mike Tomlin, or that Mike Tomlin is the issue. That was the stupidest take. I agree with Rich Eisen when he said Steeler fans are dumb that think that Tomlin needs to be fired.
That's honestly just like a racist Yinzer take. First and foremost, that's the crux of it is most definitely that. Mike Tomlin has done nothing in his entire tenure to warrant getting fired.
I just think, I mean, I don't think, first of all, they're always the main argument here is that now he has a losing record in the playoffs, right? I think he's 8-9 now or whatever, and I think just way too much went into these past losses, the lack of playoff success. You know what I mean? And I feel that some of that is because we were stuck in these Steeler ways. You know what I mean? Maybe we should have moved on from Ben Roethlisberger after the elbow surgery or whatever, right? We will never know. We could only look forward. And yeah, I'm glad, first of all, Tomlin got back to 9-8 to shut these fuckers up because they're really quiet now. But my main thing with Tomlin is he should have power to be able to move on from Canada, right? And why hasn't he?
Maybe he doesn't have that power.
Right, but a lot of them are saying that he does. I don't know. I think it's honestly it's on the Roonies. Like we said in the past, they'll never move on from stuff like this.
I think I saw somewhere that at this point after the season, we had already moved on from Haley. We'd already moved on from Fickner. We'd already moved on from who else?
Arians.
Arians. I think we get to Arians on Monday.
Yeah.
Or we get to Dick LeBeau on Monday. Or we'd already moved on from Dick LeBeau, and then we get to Arians Monday, and then it's like a week after that we get to.
Was it the DC last year?
Some other random guy.
The UPS driver. What was his name? Keith Butler.
Keith Butler.
I didn't retire though.
I don't know. I think that was a genuine retirement. I don't think that was a forced on retirement like for Dick LeBeau or whatever. Yeah, I'm giving it to the end of the conference championship round. I was 50-50 all this week until about Friday night. Now I'm kind of leaning towards 90-10 that he does get 90 in favor of him staying. Another question, I think I've dropped this in our group chat. Is it reasonable to expect him to improve with more experience?
No, I don't believe
No.
it. Not without being fired first.
At least just play calling situational stuff.
Incrementally better, yeah, but not like if I do the same job 100 days in a row, I'm gonna get better at it. But am I gonna become elite? Probably
Yeah,
not.
No.
yeah, and it should be eye opening that the times this offense has scored has been when Kenny had the ball with less than 3 minutes left in the game and they finally moved it, and when he's like making out of pocket plays, that alone should be enough. I mean, even looking at last year, Big Ben, when did we score the most? When he was calling plays out of the back of his head. But moving on from the OC talk, damn, that was already 10 minutes, guys. Let's get into free agency now. This is probably most exciting part of the off season. I believe the new league year usually starts in like March, right? Beginning of March, when all
Yeah.
this free agency stuff takes place. So we have a list here, courtesy of Steelers Depot, of all the list of free agents and I guess their current annual value, I'd say. So I'll go down the list and we'll just be simple yes or no. Not even talking about value. Larry Ogunjobi.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Mason Rudolph.
No.
No. Devin Bush.
No.
No. Cameron Sutton.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chris Wormley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see any other options for us there. Derek Watt.
Yeah.
I'd say yes.
I don't really care enough.
I'm guessing this Jesse Davis here is a depth guard piece, so I'm gonna go say no, right?
No, I guess.
No. Tyson Alualu, no.
Nah.
I think he's retiring. Marcus Allen,
No.
no. Terrell Edmonds,
Yes.
yes. Robert Spillane,
No.
No.
no. We
Maybe
gotta have
have
we gotta have a higher standard, even if he
Yeah.
is a depth piece. You know what I mean? Malik Reed,
Yeah.
no.
For a fourth outside linebacker.
Who's our third?
Really?
Fuck. if he is your fourth, I guess. We gotta be better. DeMonte KZ,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes. Anthony Miller,
No.
no. Carl Joseph, he's backup
No.
safety. If you don't know, Junior. Are you looking at the doc, right?
I'm looking at the dog.
All right, I'm gonna go and say no. Trent Scott, tackle, no.
I guess no.
I mean,
don't know.
I think maybe they just employ him just for depth. Maybe he was the best option coming out of camp. Miles Boykin,
Yeah.
I say yes, just because the way he was in special teams. I think he was really good, actually. Well, not really good, just he was good. Benny Snell,
No.
no. Zach Gentry,
Yeah.
I say
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
More
Dude,
screens, please.
yes, please. This is restricted free agents. Jeremy McNichols, I think he was a running back that barely made it out of camp because he got injured. I'm gonna go and say no.
Nah.
JC Hassenauer, backup center. I think he's a good swing
Yeah.
guard too. I say yes. Steven
Yeah.
Sims
Yeah.
Yeah. He's fine.
as your 5, right?
He's your returner. I think he was solid as a returner.
That's a
Who
good
else would
point.
be
That's a good
perfect?
point.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
I don't know. People are gassing up Calvin Austin. We'll see. James Pierre, no.
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 I mean, are we really gassing up Calvin Austin?
I'm
don't
not.
know.
A
He
lot
was
of people on
fourth
Twitter
rounder?
though. I'll read the
He's a-
Steelers.
He's a 4th rounder that hasn't played a snap in 2
I,
years.
I at the most, I always thought he would be a gadget guy, even before he got injured and missed the whole season.
We'll see. We'll see. We need to
Christian
see more.
I was gonna say cunts. Christian Kuntz, long snapper. I say yes. Solid Pittsburgh guy. You got to keep him around. I think it works. Long snappers, and then Jameer Jones. I think outside linebacker. I don't know. I say no.
So you're number 3?
Fuck. You need better 3s and 4s, especially because TJ sits out plays like every other possession. So I think that was solid. We're pretty much on the same page of each free agent. It'll be interesting to see what happens. A lot of these guys, like Ogunjobi, are sudden. I feel like they could easily probably take more money somewhere else. Ogunjobi's actually had an injury history, so I'm not sure actually.
The thing is, I think none of these guys are like super controversial to keep. I think if, let's say, like Najee was at the end of his contract, and it was like, do we want to bring this guy back? even
Speaking
if
of
he is
that,
playing well?
Highsmith is going to be asking for money this offseason. Well, he won't be a free agent. He will be Probably looking for a contract though. And this is where we get into this topic, which I didn't include in the doc. What about the take that we should trade Highsmith for a pick?
I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
If you could get a high, I mean, something in the first round or early second, I'd do it.
Highsmith was a third rounder coming off a 14.5 sack season. If you're gonna trade him, you definitely have to be in a spot where you could draft an edge, right? So that's what it would come down to me, because you obviously need someone opposite of Watt, and people are now saying you kind of have to account for the fact that Watt might miss a few games here and there. Like even last year, he missed 3 games, 2 games, didn't finish a couple either. He missed 7 games this season, and the fact of the matter is we are 1-10 without him in all the games, dating back to when we first drafted him. So you got to be better in that situation. You got to be able to, I guess, have players that'll not only just pick up the slack, but just make sure that, there's just not that much of a difference when he's not on the field. So that's why I do think Highsmith would be important to re-sign, but I'm interested to see what his trade value would be. And like you said, a first would do it.
I think he's better than Bud Dupree. I really like Highsmith, but I don't think we would pay him.
Right, and I do think he'd ask for way more than what we want to offer, and I do think we do put a lot of money into that defense enough. You know what I mean?
I think someone will go out and pay him if he hits free agency.
Right,
so.
right.
That's the thing, right? I think, yeah, we definitely need to treat this like, okay, this is a guy on his last year of his contract, and we know we're not going to re-sign him just because he's too much money. Like, what can we get out of him, right? Like, do we feel like is he irreplaceable? Like, how irreplaceable is he?
Right, yeah.
And I definitely feel like, dude, if we can make a third rounder, get like 3 or 4 years of good production out of him, and then flip him for a second or first, I think you have to do that every time. That's just, you have to do that every time.
Especially when you have such a franchise and marquee player already at that position in Watt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. You just need someone. You need someone solid. Like someone solid is gonna. They might not put up Highsmith numbers, but
if he get near that 10 sack total, right?
Like, yeah, dude, fucking.
Because Watt's gonna get 15 to 20 sacks a year if he plays the whole season.
Dude, Watt got Dupree a nice contract, and Dupree sucks.
On the Titans, yeah. I don't even think he's finished seasons.
Like, we can put a lot of people on the other side of Watt, and they would also perform really, really well. That's not a knock against Highsmith. It's just how it is. And if we can get
another Javon Hargrave situation, where
what if it? Oh,
yeah,
damn.
like
that's huge.
Like someone else pays him and he balls out, and we kept the wrong guy, or just not getting any value from him on the way back.
That's true.
Well, here's the thing. I think with Javon Hargrave, weren't we banking on Tuitt at that point? But I never liked Tuitt in the first place.
We thought we were solidified at the position with Hayward already, and Tuitt was only in his 4th or 5th season.
Nah, he was older than that, I think.
Well, Tuitt got drafted in 2014.
I guess.
Or 2013.
But then Hargrave would have been after his
2014
4th season too.
Shit, I don't know, man. Fuck.
I mean, I still think we should have, in that situation, maybe we should have just traded Hayward, because we were in no spot to win anyway.
That's the thing. I think if you thought this is a year you could win the Super Bowl, then you would just keep Highsmith and hope to figure something out later.
Right.
But I don't think we're in that position, so I think you have to figure out what's best for the future, and that's probably trading him.
What about a first next year? What if a team offers up for the team, and then you go ahead and you spend your second round, one of your second rounders on an edge this year?
I think if you get a first round pick, no matter what, you take it.
That's true. All right. Now we haven't really took the time to go down the list of what free agents could be out there, but there's a pretty obvious name in mind, and I think a lot of Steeler fans are already familiar with him. Tremaine Edmonds, the brother of Terrell Edmonds, who's also a free agent. How much money do you throw at this guy? Because this is a position that has not really been filled since the injury of Shazier.
What's the going rate for a linebacker.
A solid middle
Well,
linebacker, huh? How much did Bush? Not Bush.
Smith got Roquan Smith
Roquan just
more
got
than
20 million.
Like 5 for 100, right?
Yeah.
Fuck.
The thing about that is, I mean, okay, like he kind of had the Ravens by the balls because of like how much they traded what, like a second tip for him, or yeah, they traded a second for him, and they hadn't figured out the contract situation yet. So you have the Ravens by the balls because it's like, look, if I leave, you just gave away a second for basically nothing, right? Like you got a year of play out of me. So now like you kind of have to. Now that's where like that negotiating comes in of like, okay, like the Ravens are much more willing and likely to make that kind of payday for him happen.
Right.
But I mean, not that Roquan Smith isn't good or anything. He's obviously really good. Like he totally transformed the Ravens defense and he just made it a lot fucking better. Like one of the things that's good about the Ravens defense is they changed their defensive coordinator, which is something I wish we would do with our offense, because they saw the ceiling on their last defensive coordinator and they're like, you know what, this isn't our guy. And now their defensive coordinator, McDonald, is actually really fucking good, to the point to where like there's a decent conversation tomorrow that the Ravens Bengals game could be fucking like 12-9, like Ravens winning.
The one tonight.
Right.
That's tonight, right?
Or
is
is it
Sunday?
tonight?
Oh, it's Sunday night already, right? Shit, yeah. That's tonight. Okay.
But yeah, like what I'm saying is Roquan Smith did really great for their defense. The Ravens did really great fucking being decisive about their defensive coordinator, even if they didn't feel like he was a huge problem. And now they have a elite defense because of what they did and got someone that could really elevate their scheme and personnel. And I mean, we need to do the same with our offense. But going back to Tremaine Edmonds, if he can get us I feel like our defense has always run through our linebackers, right?
Not
And
just
we
the
haven't had
outside
anyone.
linebacker. Our honestly, our pass defense doesn't run through the corners. It's always run through our pass rush. Now the run defense. I mean, your middle linebacker, he has to be probably the smartest guy on the defense.
The main guy.
Yeah, he's calling the shots. He has the dot on the back of his helmet. He has to be able to get guys into place. Bush can never do that. What a bust he was. And then I don't know where we are with Miles Jack. I'm leaning towards disappointment this year, just because how he tore us apart when we played him when he was on the Jags. Now it's like we really need a difference maker, and I think that's the one weak link on defense. Outside of not having a number one corner.
Smith got 20. Shaquille Leonard from the Colts got 19.7. Fred Warner from the 49ers got 19, and CJ Mosley on the Jets got 17.
And we're like, is Tremaine in that tier of like elite guys?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I think Fred Warner's better than him.
Well, the main thing is, are the Bills gonna franchise tag him too?
Oh, they might.
Do the Bills even have the cap to franchise? Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. But it's a name I'd like us to keep an eye on. Just because there's already the familiarity. You know how we love the family bond and the Pittsburgh organization. We'll see what happens. It'd be a big Steeler move on. Yeah. And he's young too. He's only gonna be like 24, 25.
He got drafted at 19.
Holy shit! Yeah, we need.
I want to say more like 20. He probably got drafted 19, started the season at 20. Huh?
Yeah, I think he started college at 17 or something.
Fucking
yeah,
shit.
He's gonna be starting next season as 26 then, which is wild.
Something like that. Yeah. We'll see what happens there. This is gonna be another interesting take, because many people will have us going tackle in the draft, right? Because the O-line has been the main thing of the past couple years, even 3 years maybe. But I'd rather see us put money there in free agency on that left tackle position, more specifically. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I'd like to spend money in general.
I don't like drafting linemen. They're never.
It's not exciting, huh?
It's not exciting at all.
Well, not only that, I just feel like when you have a young guy at quarterback and you have the money to spend, it should be on protecting him, right? While he's young and inexperienced, still adjusting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
And
mean, I
and at
would.
this point, I think his line is the same age as him, only
I'd
with
rather
probably a
get
couple
a.
more years of experience, maybe.
Yeah, I'd rather make a splash in free agency for a left tackle or something, just to have someone that with more of a veteran presence for that line, right? Because it is a really young line.
I think
And
still the average age of the offense was like 24, 25. Even with the line, the free agents we got this year in James Daniels and Mason Cole, they're still young.
I think when you have a rookie quarterback contract, you have to go out and spend money. So I would take
Right.
take
And
that over
we're already
drafting.
spent. I don't want to see us spend money on receivers or running backs. You know what I mean?
No, we
So
can
you
find
so
those
you
guys.
put money on the line, and that brings us to where we are with our first pick, the 17th pick in the draft. Chewy, read this off for me. Who do you have us taking?
I got us taking Jordan Addison.
Boy, would that be sweet, man! Reuniting Kenny Pickett and Jordan Addison back in the stadium where they played their college ball, or where Addison played 2 years of college ball. Still balled out at USC nonetheless. I think he could be a really big difference maker in the offense, despite Canada. You know what I mean? Just because when the offense really got going, it was because of Kenny's connections with George Pickens, fire move, stuff like that, and just adding in Addison. I think the ball could really start moving for the offense. You know what I mean? And eventually, when we do get to a new OC, he'll know what to do with these guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we have the weapons. I guess in this case of taking Addison, I would probably try to trade Deontay as well.
That's another thing. Yeah.
would you take a third for Deontay?
No. If
Yes.
dude, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess just the fact that Claypool ended up getting us a 32nd.
that was that's not happening
No,
ever
but
again.
that was when let's put some context around when this trade
Yeah.
happened. All right, because this is looking like a fleece, and I mean at the time it still looked like really fucking nice for us, but at the time the Bears, they were fucking rolling with who the fuck is their quarterback? What's his name?
Fields.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Justin Fields. They were rolling with Justin Fields. Justin Fields was looking like a man possessed. Like he's making all these crazy fucking plays and runs, like for 40 yards, and he was just carrying the team complete on his back. And the whole talk around the league is like, holy shit, Fields is a beast.
Get him
But
some weapons, right?
The Bears have no weapons for him. Like Mooney's like okay, but you need something else, right? So they did everything they could, and because of the pressure that was there, that the Packers were putting on trying to get a fucking wide receiver, and I'm sure there were other teams. The Steelers were able to get not the Ravens second round pick, but the Bears fucking second round pick. Um,
The Bears also felt wow because they got a second round pick from the Ravens too.
yeah. So the Bears were like feeling pretty comfortable. So at the time, this is an okay trade, and in the end, it's looking like it's not on the same level as like the Broncos trading for Russell Wilson, but like we look really fucking good, in hindsight, right?
Plugging in the fact that the Dolphins are forfeiting their first rounder, so that pick just moves up a spot to 32 instead of 33. I mean, not that it makes a big difference. It's just like, wow, that's technically a first rounder.
Yo, think about it though.
We
Like,
have
dude,
all of after day one of the draft to think about what we do too. If any
no, but
trades want to go through as well.
little off topic, but dude, the Dolphins losing a fucking first round pick for tampering. How is like I feel like no one really talked about that. Like over
People
the
were
course
more
of
talking more about Brian Flores and how they were getting him to tank and his lawsuit with the NFL, stuff like that.
that's a crazy story because
So they forfeit their first round pick for tampering with Tom Brady, right? To sign him, not because they wanted Flores to tank.
yeah.
I feel like people were talking
lose it-
about that more, right?
They lost it for tampering with Tom Brady and Sean Payton. Like Tom Brady and Sean Payton have the same agent, so they were in talks to like get Brady into like the minority ownership group because like one of them
The fuck?
yeah. One of them. Here's the story. One of Michigan, some guy from Michigan. They're like, where Tom Brady used to go. He's known Tom Brady for fucking 40 years at this point, right? However fucking old Tom Brady is. He basically like was willing to sell Tom Brady part of his minority stake in the Dolphins, and Tom Brady was gonna go over there, become an executive, and then he was gonna drop down to play for the Dolphins after coming out of retirement. right?
Jesus
And then
Christ.
Sean Payton was gonna come over and coach the Dolphins because Tom Brady and Sean Payton have the same agent. Well, then the league fucking found out about this and like Nick, you can't fucking do that shit. And then it kind of ruined the whole thing for them. And everything happened as it did. The Bengals, or not the Bengals, the Dolphins got Mike McDaniels, who's actually a fucking genius. And Brady's stuck on the Bucks, and he's probably gonna go. Who knows where Brady's gonna go this year?
Vegas.
Vegas, maybe even the fucking Niners.
Who knows? But yeah, a little off topic there. But I think that's where those are the main points we want to look at this offseason, right? The main guys that we want, the changes we want to see.
We'll get into like a pretty big draft podcast.
Oh, I am looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to putting in the time. Just kind of seeing what we do with once we get Addison, and if we do move Deontay, what we could get out of that. Stuff like that. I'm on board of trading for Deontay. I'm not sure if you need to. It'll make picking Addison look a lot more what's the word here? Responsible. But as of right now, I would just love to see the Kenny and Jordan Addison reunion. Plus,
Yeah,
we already lost Claypool, so we're already thin at receiver for the first time in like 20 years. Steelers are thin at receiver. I think just we didn't add another playmaker because I don't see Deontay's future in Pittsburgh much longer.
Having 3 picks in the top 50 makes it really exciting, because that's a huge pool of talent to like be able to like look at, and I know we're gonna drop something real nice for.
Yeah, and it just got hard, once we got to like the 200s when we were making our last mock draft. We're just like, fuck, what do we do? I'm glad we have more picks in the top 50 now.
We fucking nailed Pickens though.
Yeah.
Who else did we get? Who else did we get that we called?
I think we had Connor going like in the 7th, and we got him in the 6th.
A little over.
I called Kenny. Who else? I think we were on par with everything. Like we had us going defense in the 3rd, and then we had Leal. I think we wanted to get a corner though. The 4th, I think we did have us going receiver, right? Another receiver.
Yeah, we did.
Sounds like something I would do.
Because we had lost so many in free agency, and we didn't do anything to sign any back. So we had us taking a couple receivers, and yeah, we ended up getting Calvin Austin. I think we had us getting like some other dudes though.
And I think at the time we hadn't paid Deontay yet.
True. That was like later in camp, or right before camp.
Yeah, so that was like
I think we didn't have a 5th rounder that year.
I still don't think trading Deontay was bad.
Signing him?
Signing him. I don't think extending him was that bad.
I don't think it's a bad contract.
It's not a bad contract at all. Do you expect more out of a guy getting paid?
I don't think it's his fault.
Well,
though.
he has it is a lot on Canada.
It's our anemic offense, dude. It's pathetic.
Yeah. But having said all this, any other closing remarks, guys, before we start to open in the off season? I don't think we'll be expecting any episodes until we get closer to free agency, I suppose.
Yeah, unless Canada gets fired.
That'll be an emergency podcast, huh?
Dude, if Canada gets fired, we're gonna fucking drop a sick ass episode about who our dream OCs are.
We were looking forward to that one the whole season, and it's pointless if we don't fire this fucking guy. We'll have to put it off till next year.
We've been talking about this since camp, dude.
Since camp. You're not wrong, dude. But yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and peace out.